Hello and welcome to Mad Knitting. This is episode 88. It is the middle of August 2025. My name is Susan. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and you can find me online as madtownmama on Ravelry and Bluesky and madtown_mama on Instagram. It's been more than a month since I posted a video, and so I thought I would do a quick reintroduction of myself in case you're new here or don't mind a refresher. I live in Madison, Wisconsin with my family, my husband and our daughter who has 1 year of high school left, and then our son is in college. So he is here for the summer, but has flown the nest essentially, as it were. I used to work from home, so this is why my videos have gotten a little less frequent over the summer. For almost 4 years, I worked full-time from home for a very small nonprofit. So it was pretty easy for me, pretty convenient for me to make videos every 2 or 3 weeks, in the middle of the day or over lunch hour, between meetings or whatever, because I was just at home. And if I didn't have too much on my plate, I could do that. I started a new job about a month ago, and it's fully on site in an office. So while the demands on my time total are about the same, I'm not at home between like 7:30 and 5. So I don't have the opportunity to record like I used to. Yes, there are evenings and weekends, but the fact is I feel much more comfortable sitting down in front of a camera and recording when there's nobody else around. And that just doesn't happen very often, especially in the summer when there's no school and my kid was home from college and everything. It's not that my family isn't supportive of this or mine's really, but I just feel more comfortable when there's nobody else around. So it's Sunday morning, the guys are out playing disc golf. My daughter is still asleep, so I am going to take this time quick to make a video before I go about with the rest of my day and before they get back. So along with the reduced opportunity to record, I've also had less time to knit than I used to. I am hoping to fall into a better routine eventually, but I'm still kind of figuring things out. I also, in my whole adult career story, I also play the piano professionally. I used to do that all the time. Now I just do it a little bit, but I have a gig coming up, so I've been using a lot of my evening time to learn the music for that, because obviously I have to know my music. So I just don't have as much time to knit as I used to. So I wish that I had more finished things to show you and more interesting things to show you, but I don't. And I thought better a short video about what I've actually been doing, keep it real, than wait and wait and wait and wait. So I do have finished objects though. I have 4. I have 3 hats and a pair of socks. I have a couple works in progress that I've actually made enough progress to show you. I've got other things that have been lingering for a while and won't talk about. And then we'll be on our way. So let's see. The first finished object is a pair of socks. I did show these in progress last time. These are Knitcircus yarns, Breathtaking BFL. This is a fingering weight yarn, 100% superwash BFL. And sadly, Knitcircus is closing their doors. Once they are sold out of their stock, they will be closing their business, and the owner is going to launch, or maybe has already launched, a different artistic creative endeavor. So I'm so glad she has a plan. But I think the impact of COVID, the economic uncertainty of everything, especially in the last few months with tariffs and inflation and just consumer uncertainty, just enough was enough. So anyway, so I have quite a bit of their yarn, and I will be working through it and feeling nostalgic for Knitcircus because they've just been such a great company. Anyway, I forget the name of this colorway, but it's something like Flamo or Flameo, something having to do with fire and flames. And you can tell because it's this really great sort of deep barn red color with streaks of yellow and charcoal. So it really does look like flames and cinder, in my opinion. I cast on 64 stitches with size 1 needles and just did my basic, the thing I always do with socks. 1x1 rib cuff. I decided to do stockinette for the leg and the foot. I have an Eye of Partridge heel. These are the gusset decreases, and that's how I did it. I actually made the first sock a little too big, so I had to pull out some of the toe and kind of redo it to make sure it fits my foot. I do want to keep these. I want to see how the BFL holds up over time. There's no nylon in this sock blend, so we'll see how long it lasts. But I love the feel of BFL on my feet. I have a different pair of socks from a different dyer, and I love how they're wearing, so I hope that these wear the same. Here is the rest of the yarn caked up. There's quite a bit. I will have to figure out what to do with all my leftover sock yarn, because whenever I make a pair of socks for me or for a foot size close to mine out of 100 gram sock skein, 100 gram skein of sock yarn, I always have quite a lot left. Like way too much for a gnome, not quite enough for another pair of socks. You know, maybe it could be the outer layer of a hat or something. I don't know. I should weigh it and see exactly how much is left. My other finished objects are hats. So I'm going to show you 2 at a time. These are, as you can see, very basic 1x1 rib hats. I did not use a pattern, although if you wanted a pattern, there are some good ones out there. I know Pearl Soho has some free hat patterns, like basic ribbed hat patterns. There's also the basic beanie from Tin Can Knits, which is probably what this is closest to. I didn't follow their instructions, but that one has a lot of different options for different ribbing, you know, 2x2, 1x1, 4x2, etc., and tells you how to do the decreases and stuff, and they give you the numbers for a bunch of different gauges and all the different head sizes you can imagine. So I recommend that one if you're looking for a hat pattern. But for these, this is DK weight yarn, and I'll tell you about the yarn in a second. But I used size 5 needles because I wanted a firm fabric, and I cast on 112 stitches. And I just did 1x1 rib until it felt like it was tall enough. And then I did the decreases, and I really like how that came out. I do notice that it's a little bit biased, like the fabric wants to lean a little bit. I'm not sure why that is. It doesn't bother me particularly, and I think once it's on your head, it's stretched out and you don't even notice. So these are hats for my nieces. This is for the older one. So on an adult, you could wear it like this. For a kid, I think there would be plenty of room to turn up the brim, cover their ears. She really likes teals and turquoise colors, so this is why I picked this for her. For the younger one, I chose this bright pink color. So the yarn, and I have somewhere, I don't know what happened to the pink skein. I thought I had it. I wonder if it fell on the floor. The yarn is by Republica Unicornia. Here is a label. You can actually see the label here. BFL DK. So it's 100% superwash BFL. And this colorway, I had to get this yarn because it's still the Gulf of Mexico. So she came out with this colorway earlier this year. I don't know if y'all remember, but there was an executive order from our orange dictator to change the name of that body of water to the Gulf of America, which is ridiculous. But of course, you know, the big tech companies with their map applications changed it, and it was this whole stupid thing. Anyway, I love that colorway, and I love the name, I love the actual color, and I think my niece will like it, so I'm going to give it to her. This is the same yarn, the BFL DK, in the color I Hate Pink, which is funny, of course, because it's all pink. All the different pinks you can imagine. Fuchsia, Barbie, bubblegum, Pepto-Bismol, you name it. So that's for the younger one. I was thinking of attaching pom-poms to these, because pom-poms are fun. These pom-poms are from Barrett Wool Company, so there's this bright pink one that I think is perfect for the pink hat. And then for the teal one, I don't have like a teal or a green pom-pom, but there's this pale blue that could work, or this very light gray that sort of has charcoal on the tips that might be a good neutral option. I don't know for sure. I'll think about it. I'll probably save these as Christmas presents, but so I've got some time. But those are those hats. The third hat that I finished, it's very wet. Like, I rolled it up in this towel to get the extra water out because I soaked it all night for blocking and then hung it up this morning, and of course it's not. I can't even put this on my head to show you, but this was not a hat that I had started in my last episode. This was started and completed in the last few weeks. I had been craving cables. I want to make something with cables. I would like to make myself a sweater with lots of cables. I have too many sweaters on the needles to start something new, but I had this yarn, this beautiful woolly Shetland yarn somebody gave me, and I found a pattern for a cabled hat that was just gorgeous, and I decided to cast it on. So I'm going to show it to you for a little longer so you can see. The yarn is Harrisville Shetland. So it's from that mill in New Hampshire, I think. Somebody gave me 2 skeins of this gorgeous, it's a lightweight Shetland wool. I think the color is called Blackberry. And as you can see, it's this really, really deep purple, a deep bluish purple. And I wasn't sure what to do with it. I think I might have even talked about it in an earlier episode where I tried to find another yarn in a contrasting color to use for color work, but it's such a interesting weight of yarn, this is, because it's listed as a fingering weight. It certainly looks like you could knit it in fingering weight, like in a really tight color work situation. But it doesn't have real high yardage. The yardage is like closer to sport weight, I guess. And I was just having trouble finding a different yarn that was a good match for it. I didn't particularly want to place an order online from Harrisville because I'm just, trying to do a little better with using what I've got. And 2 skeins is kind of an awkward amount, but then I found this hat pattern, which is Ridley by Megan Babin. She designs for Hudson and West. And this calls for their fingering weight yarn. And because it's cabled and there's that long ribbed brim, I mean, you have the option of not doing it so long, but I had 2 skeins, so I thought, why not? I knew that I would need the 2 skeins to complete the hat. So I bought the pattern, I did a swatch, and I realized that despite this being listed as a fingering weight, I was getting 6 stitches per inch, even on size 3 needles. So what I did was cast on the number of stitches for the smaller size hat, knowing it would come out a little bigger. So I'm very pleased with how it came out. This will be a gift for my brother. I did get to see my brother and my whole family A couple of weeks ago, we were in Kentucky to celebrate my parents' anniversary. We met at a state park. It was beautiful. And I had cast this on as an easy project because, you know, for the first big chunk of ribbing, once you get those stitches on the needles, you don't have to follow a pattern or think about what you're doing. So this first part was really good company knitting, like while we were playing games or hanging out or driving different places. And I got pretty far along and realized it was going to be kind of a big hat, like probably too loose for my head. So when we were sitting there, I just popped it on my brother's head and said, hey, what do you think of this? And it seemed to fit his head perfectly. And he played along just fine. And he said he liked it. He really likes the color. He likes this deep purple color. And most importantly, I said, does the wool bother you? Because this is not like a super soft merino wool or anything. It's Shetland, so it's hardy. I don't find it scratchy, but some other people might. And he said he did not find it scratchy at all. He left it on his head for a couple of minutes. And my brother also has no hair. He's bald, so the itch factor is pretty important there. So this is going to be a hat for him. I think it will fit him very nicely. And I already know he likes the color and the yarn and everything, so win. One slight modification I made to the top, the cables look a little awkward up there, and it's because when I was getting to the top of the cable chart, I realized that the hat was plenty tall, and I didn't want it to have like extra length. I thought that would look weird if it was gonna like stick up over his head. So I cut out a few rounds of the chart and just started the decreases, which are charted. The decreases are worked into the cables. So I had to make sure that I was ending early, but on a section where all the knit and purl stitches lined up with how the decreases were going to work on the chart. I hope that makes sense. So there is less cable crossing up here before the crown decreases start, but at least everything lines up. So this needs to finish drying, and then I will set it aside and save it for Christmas, I guess. And I need to find a hat pattern to make for my sister-in-law so that all four of them can get hats from me. I've made them all hats in the past, so they probably have enough, but they're gonna get more. Okay. Oh, this is the yarn I have left. This is what's left of the second skein. So if I came across more Harrisville Shetland in another color, I could definitely use this in some color work. But for now, it'll just sit in my leftover bin. It's probably enough for a pair of mitts or something if I really wanted to make them, but we'll see. Okay, I only have, I have two works in progress that I would like to share with you. One is a pair of socks that I cast on for work. So I mentioned that I started a new job a month ago, and it is fully on site, in person. I mean, there's still online stuff. Sometimes there are online meetings, and I've definitely had online trainings and things. But I'm around people a little bit more and in an office, so the knitting time during work is curtailed a bit. But after a couple of weeks, when I had sort of felt things out, I decided there was one of the staff meetings that I attend regularly that it was probably okay to bring knitting to. And yeah, everybody was fine with it. This particular standing meeting is pretty informal. It's just like a check-in situation. So I started a pair of socks probably during orientation or something, and have been able to bring it to a couple of those staff meetings. And this is what I've got so far. So these are my work socks. They sit at my desk. I brought them home thinking I might work on them over the weekend. It would be nice to finish the first one so that I have all the row counts for the toes and stuff, and then I won't have to try it on during work, because as you can see, I'm pretty far along on the foot. But I love the colors in this yarn. It looks like a bag of jelly beans just exploded all over it. Very cheerful. Very needed. I think we need our cheerful knits right now. You know, knitting got me through early motherhood and middle motherhood. And it has gotten me through some, you know, a career change several years ago. And that's all like very personal to me stuff. And now knitting is gonna help get me through this period of authoritarianism that I hope doesn't last very long, but who knows? Who knows? There's a lot of things we can do to oppose descent into fascism. I don't think knitting is an act of resistance itself. It's just something I'm doing for my own sake, but it's helping me keep my head above water and helping me keep myself together so that I can do what I can to resist everything that's going on. It's shocking to me. It should be shocking. Like all of you who say, oh, this isn't a surprise, like we still should be shocked and appalled at what's going on. Nobody should be okay with abducting people off the streets and sending them to concentration camps. Nobody should be okay with that. Nobody should be okay with cutting food benefits to children and eliminating cancer research and vaccines and food inspections. Nobody should be okay with that. I don't care what you think about the tax code. Those things are not okay. Anyway, side note. So this yarn, which is bringing me joy in troubled times, is called Footprints Wool Addicts. It's by Lang Yarns, and it's a blend of wool, cotton, and a little bit of nylon. I made another pair that I showed you earlier this summer. I love the colors in this yarn, and I love that it has cotton in it, so it won't be as warm as all wool socks. So I think it'll be good for like transition seasons or cooler days, but not cold. Anyway, I'm having a lot of fun with this, and this is where I am with it. So hopefully I'll have a pair done before too long, but yeah, these are my work socks. Excuse me, I'm a little froggy because it's sort of early and trying not to talk too loud, and I would like to get out and go for a run before it gets too hot or starts raining today. That's why you are again seeing me in workout clothes. Right, so my last work in progress, I did want to show you my Fernwood sweater. I think when in my last video, I was just about done with the bottom. So there's not a whole lot of progress to show you here, but since then I did, like right before we left on our trip to Kentucky, I did cast off the bottom and I gave this a good soak. And while it was still damp, I took my iron and I steamed the absolute living daylights out of the top. That's something I like to do with color work, just to make it as smooth as possible. And I really love what that did to the fabric. I don't think the gauge changed at all, or if it did, it's so minuscule, it's not important or not noticeable. But any puckering, any unevenness, a lot of that really was blocked out. And I think that's a testament to the yarn. This is Clara Parkes yarn. It's the third iteration of yarn she sold years ago. This might be 9 or 10 years old at this point. It's a fingering weight. This is about the third sweater attempt I have made with this yarn. I finally got one where the gauge matched what I needed. Anyway, I'm just thrilled with how this looks so far. So yeah, I got it all blocked and let it dry for the week that we were gone, and I have not picked it up. I have a theme of sweaters that need sleeves, so I think when I can get my head together, that's going to be my next project, is to put sleeves on all the sweaters that are missing them. But that's the case with this. So I blocked it, and then I tried it on again because I wanted to see how that would affect the fit, like maybe it would relax it a little bit. Not that the sweater didn't fit right, but the neckline I was worried is a little high. And I did mention this online on a Ravelry group I'm a part of, and it was kind of interesting the feedback I got, where some people said, oh, it'll be great, don't worry. Some people said, yeah, it does look a little high, but you know, block it and see what happens. A couple people suggested just doing an I-cord neckline because that won't add any height to it. One person said it might still curl with the I-cord. One person said actually the yoke might not be deep enough, which is why it's riding up. I don't know. I am curious to see what happens. My plan right now is to go ahead and well, actually, I don't know if I'll do the sleeves or the neck first. We'll see. But my plan for the neckline is to pick up the stitches with a smaller needle and do ribbing for at least an inch and just see what that looks like. If it feels like it's riding up too high, I might just keep going so that I get like a mock neck or a turtleneck, like just lean into that. If I don't like it at all, I can try again with an I-cord. We will see. I have confidence that I will come up with a solution that works. But I am just in love with how this is coming out. So what I have left are the sleeves, of course, and there is a little bit of color work at the top of the sleeves to go with the color work on the body. So one of the things that I like so much about this pattern is that the color work extends a little bit beyond the yoke, which I feel like for my body type and the way it sort of draws the attention further down, it's not all just up here, I think will look really nice. The pattern, by the way, is Fernwood by Tanya Barley. And it's a good pattern. I recommend it. I think maybe one of the reasons I have all these questions about the neckline is that I often have a row gauge that is different from the designer, even if my stitch gauge is spot on. I often have fewer rows per inch, meaning that if I am knitting the total number of rows called for in a pattern, I might have a taller piece of knitted fabric. And in a colorwork yoke design, that matters because it's really, there's not much I can change about this, or I'd have to think really hard about like eliminating a section or moving the increases or something in order to change the depth, change the number of rows or rounds I am knitting in order to adapt the depth of the yoke. I think that's an issue in that hat that I just showed you. Yes, my gauge was bigger for stitch gauge, but also like if the row gauge is supposed to be more compressed and I'm following a chart all the way up, I'm just gonna end up with a much taller hat. That's sort of a consistent thing with me and my gauge. So anyway, I think it'll be fine with the sweater. And maybe before I close, I will just try it on for you quick so you can see for yourself. See for yourselves how the fit is working. So yeah, I forgot to mention this, I added just a few increases here to give it a little A-line shaping because I didn't want it to hug in the middle. This is what it looks like now. I imagine when I add the sleeves, it might help kind of pull everything down. But yeah, it's gonna be a great sweater for fall, for winter. It's wool, it's light, it's also very warm. Anyway, I think that's all I have for you today. I promise I am still working on a special episode about Elizabeth Zimmerman. I just have to get my shit together. So that's coming sometime. No promises when, but I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me.